I really want this next build to be epic. Well, then you really are going to have to hold my beer. So this, my friends, is going to be the most powerful system probably I've ever built, revolving around the ROG ecosystem. So we have the motherboard, the power supply, the cooler, the graphics card, the case, some LED accessories and peripherals, so full out ASUS ROG fanboying over here. And at the core we have the Threadripper 2950X, a 16-core 32-thread part. Whoo, that should be fun.
The LickTech 2 360 AIO cooler from Enermax now comes in this gorgeous white finish to give your PC a bit of character. The EF1 pump delivers superior cooling performance, it's both Intel and AMD socket compatible, and it features RGB lighting. Learn more about it down below.
Well, look how tables have turned, huh? Not long ago I made a video about ditching Ryzen, going back to Intel, and that solely was because of Intel QuickSync support that was added into Adobe Premiere. So you could utilize the Intel graphics cards on the CPU to accelerate your render times, and that was like a 2x performance increase in Adobe Premiere, which made total sense for me. But my friends, this is my first Threadripper system. Eber has built a few, and now I'm kind of happy to be back into the AMD world, especially because they're gaining so much hype, and I'm excited for the 3000 series, and this would be a really good starting point to just see how their third or the 3000 series performs in comparison to this 2950X. Should be fun. Now I want to be clear that while this system is insanely powerful, for Adobe Premiere it is not. My Razer Blade 15 renders video faster than this beast, and that just shows you that Intel CPUs are still far ahead for Adobe applications, but Premiere has not been really friendly to us. Lots of crashes, just all the updates break things. You are not getting the things that we want to get for an annual subscription fee or a monthly subscription fee, which is why I'm moving into Davinci Resolve 16 Studio, and that's been just such a pleasure to use, such a refreshing program that actually utilizes the hardware and you're not, bottled down to using Intel CPUs only. And before we do the parts breakdown, which are all listed in the description below, by the way, thank you very much, let's do the build. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is the most expensive build I've ever done, and just looking over the price list for each of those components is just so intimidating. Like the motherboard, the ASUS Zenith Extreme Alpha, it's over $600, it's eATX, it is the heaviest motherboard I've ever held in my hands, it's got all types of overclocking features, it's built super well. I won't be able to utilize it because it was built to support the 32-core Threadripper, the 2990WX, but I have the 2950X in there. I just enabled the Precision Boost Overdrive, tweak a few things here and there, enable my RAM profile, the XMP, but for AMD side, and just be on my way. Now for memory, G.Skill hooked us up with a 128GB kit. This is my first, so thank you very much. It's got beautiful RGB ambient illumination that I can sync up to the entire system. Unfortunately, the Ryzen 360mm all-in-one cooler did not allow the all DIMMs to be populated because the actual base plate and the little plastic cover that goes over top of the pump, it blocked the two closest slots, which means that I was only able to populate 64GB in there, but with a cooler swap that I'm expecting from Noctua for future use, I will have 128GB in total a little bit later. Now for the graphics card, we got the ROG Strix Gaming RTX 2080 Ti, and that thing is absolutely insane. It comes factory overclocked, those triple fans and the massive heatsink and the RGB illumination. Everything is like a nice complete package. I can overclock it to 2.1 GHz easy, And the 2.1 GHz RTX 2080 Ti absolutely flies through anything. Now, I initially mounted the GPU in the vertical orientation using the included case bracket, but as I'm adding more GPUs down the line to help with the rendering performance, I did swap it out to have in this default horizontal orientation. As for power, we got the ROG Thor 1200 watt platinum efficiency power supply, and that thing is insane. It's got a screen on the side that shows you power consumption. It has addressable RGB illumination that you can connect to the motherboard and have all that synced up very well. It's got also braided cables that I found a really cool way to integrate around my little ROG character, so they span and they kind of wrap around him and into the graphics card. And I found that a really good integration to not only populate that sort of empty space in an otherwise really giant case, but also really cool aesthetic that highlights the cables and secures the character in the case too. And since we went so overkill, the last piece of the puzzle was more lighting. I installed the ROG Aura terminal beside the motherboard on that cable cover, routed an additional addressable RGB strip on top to highlight the cooler and give the internal space a bit more ambient lighting. Now, one unique element about this whole build are the 3 screens that are inside. So one on the AL pump that you can customize to show your CPU voltage, your temperatures, your fan speeds, whatever you want. You can show different graphics as well. There's the motherboard screen that shows you different codes, different temperature. You can also customize that. And the power supply screen that shows you only the draw power. The issue, however, is the lack of cohesion between all 3 screens, in terms of font size, in terms of animations, in terms of like refresh rate even. So that kind of sucks. But that is a minor complaint on an otherwise beastly rig. And performance-wise, I'm very happy with my Davinci Resolve Studio 16 Public Beta 4 performance-wise. The numbers really do speak for themselves. This is the fastest machine I've ever built. However, it is not for Premiere. Like I said earlier, my Razer Blade exports videos faster because of Intel QuickSync. But it looks like I'm back on Ryzen, and it wasn't that long ago when I was ditching Ryzen, going to Intel. Flip-flop, flip-flop. But the Threadripper system is an absolute beast. I feel like it's still way too overkill for my needs, even in video production. Yet, it is faster for Davinci Resolve than my 9900K machine. And I'm moving away from Adobe applications because I feel like they're just slugging around. They're a little, back in my day, this is how it used to be done. Davinci Resolve feels fresh, it feels young, optimization is there, and that is what I want to support. So what is the future of the system, you may ask? Well, I want to downsize. The ROG Helios case for me is a little bit too large, but I've done a full review. You can check it out over here. I want to swap out the cooler so that I can have space for 128 gigabytes of RAM in here. And really want to explore overclocking, maybe 4.2, maybe higher on 8 cores and beyond. Motherboard definitely allows it, and the VRM cooling here is fantastic. And I also want to bring this into a research center and see what this Threadripper CPU can do in terms of compute and applications outside of the traditional video production. And I'm not going to be gaming on this thing. This is not a gaming machine, despite it looking like this.
Get a good sense of grip with Corsair's Iron Claw RGB gaming mouse, featuring a lightweight design, ultra-durable Omron switches paired with Pixar's 3391 optical sensor, and some RGB lighting for some extra flair. The Iron Claw ensures gaming at its best. Check it out down below.
So big thanks to ASUS for providing the parts. This is not a sponsored video. This is just us having fun and experimenting, and me really wanting a Threadripper system so that we can move on with our lives to explore other avenues in terms of hardware optimizations for particular applications in our video production. Now, if you have any suggestions on how we can utilize the CPU properly for other interesting tasks, let us know in the comments. Big thanks to Wendell from Level 1 Techs for optimization, troubleshooting talk, always appreciated. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.